This video is already banned in China, and if it isn't, let's get it banned right now. Let's take a picture of a bird with its wings spread wide, and let's take a truck and put them together. That's it. It's enough to get banned in China. Why? Well, this composition reminds of something similar, the Tank Man. The photo, which was taken in 1989 during the Tiananmen Square massacre, when the Chinese government killed hundreds to crack down political protests. Therefore, any recreation of this photo is censored and banned. Lego Tank Man, rubber ducks instead of tanks, a cigarette and some books, all three of them banned. So it's not only Winnie the Pooh that sits behind the bars of Chinese censorship, and it's not only the NBA that doesn't care. In 2013, a new face emerged in the arena of international affairs. Xi Jinping was elected as the president of the People's Republic of China, and with the new leader came a new set of rules. Military reforms, the return to a cult of personality, constant increase of mass surveillance, and censorship followed. Back in 2018, the Chinese constitution was amended to introduce a few significant changes, like term limits for Xi Jinping's presidency were removed, meaning that Xi Jinping is here to stay for a very long time. Last time the presidential term limit was removed was when Mao Zedong was in power. And it's not the only thing that Xi Jinping has in common with what many would argue was the deadliest dictator in the world's history. But everything started rather comically. On June 8th in 2013, freshly elected Xi Jinping had a meeting with Barack Obama, the then president of the USA. The meeting resulted in photos that were not to be forgotten anytime soon. Sharp-eyed Twitter users immediately noticed the similarity between the state leaders in Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. This now legendary comparison stuck to the people and eventually was noticed by Chinese social media users as well. New memes started appearing, and Winnie the Pooh was on its way to becoming a universal symbolic reference to the very serious president of the People's Republic of China. This would have undermined the Chinese government's efforts to reintroduce the cult of personality back to China. Lo and behold, any mentions of Winnie the Pooh got banned. GIFs that had Winnie in them were removed from chatting apps, and back in 2018, when Disney presented Christopher Robin, a live-action take on Winnie the Pooh, it got banned as well, thus joining the club of banned foreign films that include such names as The Da Vinci Code or Deadpool. This extreme sensitivity to criticism attracted more attention. Late-night show host John Oliver took the opportunity to make fun of Xi Jinping's authoritarian tendencies and his fear of the honey-loving children's character.
It's true. It's true. Apparently, Xi Jinping is very sensitive about his perceived resemblance to Winnie the Pooh.
And of course, he got banned too. Here, South Park steps in. Upon airing the Banned in China episode, the creators probably weren't shocked to receive the news about the show being banned in China. That's probably what they expected, and judging from their mock apology, that's what they had planned all along. Because Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park, wanted to remind the world that it's not okay to ignore what China is becoming. Because the issue with contemporary China is not only their strict censorship, it's worse. Freedom of speech is not the only human right that is being abused in China. It's about China becoming a dystopian, Black Mirror-inspired country. According to the Human Rights Watch report, the Chinese authorities deploy mass surveillance systems to tighten control over society. In 2018, the government continued to collect on a massive scale biometrics including DNA and voice samples, use such biometrics for automated surveillance purposes, develop a nationwide reward and punishment system known as the social credit system. It's about the fact that there are around 1 million Uyghurs, a Chinese Muslim minority, who are sent to political re-education camps where they're forced to unlearn and forget their culture. The government is even demolishing the Uyghur graveyards. By doing so, they remove the physical evidence that Uyghurs have a many generations lasting culture. It's a real-life example of an authoritarian approach to power once described by George Orwell in his book 1984. Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. Not to mention the obscure ways Hong Kong protesters are being dealt with, and these examples are just the surface of the human rights situation in China. And yet, it was widely ignored just because China is very rich. Therefore, so many acts such as Blizzard banning players who voiced their support for Hong Kong, Apple removing an app used by the Hong Kong protesters, Mercedes apologizing for quoting Dalai Lama, Hollywood changing their movies to appeal to Chinese censors, or many other companies who chose to kowtow and please the Chinese government be accepted or tolerated. The Chinese authoritarian tendencies will continue to increase because of a simple reason: the world doesn't care. South Park pointed this out, and let's hope that people will get more aware, and such business-savvy approach to commenting on Chinese issues that was displayed by Lebron James and other apologists will not be tolerated. What do you think? What's the solution to this problem? Is becoming a responsible consumer and choosing what brands to support enough to solve this problem? Or should China be addressed in other ways?